So welcome everybody to the November 12th, 2020 Inspiring Author Conversations. Today we'll be speaking with Jeff Koziatek of Core Authenticity. But before we start, I just have a few housekeeping details. Check at the bottom of your screen. If you roll your mouse over the dark area, you'll see the bottom part pop up where there's a chat button. Click on that, and if you have any questions, please type your chat into that screen. If you are not already muted, please mute yourself. I'm trying to catch people as they come in. Here we go. And I promise not to mute Jeff. There we go. That has happened before. And the chat button, we've done that. And we are also recording from a video perspective. The recordings will be posted to YouTube, and you'll receive a link to that within the next 48 or so hours. We try and get that to you as soon as we can. And we promise to end the call around noon or shortly thereafter. So I want to welcome everybody again, especially our live audience today, to the Davis Creative Publishing Partners Lunch and Learn. And our theme for this year has been Inspiring Authors, where we will either interview an inspiring author or we bring in someone who is supporting inspiring authors. And today we happen to have both. You fit both of that criteria, Jeff. So Jeff Koziatek is an artist and an entrepreneur. He worked in the entertainment industry for over 20 years, where he produced award-winning films, of course they were, and national touring shows, owned a complete event management company, acted in film and television, and performed more than 4,000 shows across the country. If you've ever seen Jeff in his, in your zone as a speaker in front of a crowd, you'll know how exciting and fulfilling that can be. It's not only entertaining, but there is a lot to learn from Jeff. I have learned. Today, Jeff is the CEO at Core Authenticity. He works with top performers who want to achieve more professional success and personal freedom. His services include keynotes, training, coaching. He's a national speaker, best-selling author, and works as a certified life and leadership coach with both the Values Conversation and the John Maxwell team. As I recall, I think we met originally through NSA. I know that's where we have crossed paths. Did I accidentally? I did not mute you. Okay, good. You're just messing with my brain. That's all you were doing. Yes.
Yeah, it was NSA. That's where we met.
Okay, cool. So I'm thrilled that you could be here with us today. I'm going to jump right in. We're talking about taking the next step to confidence. And I see that a lot with our authors. And how did you have confidence, find the confidence needed to finish your book?
To finish the book?
Or start the book, yeah. How did confidence play a role in that book? Your confidence.
Well, I've got two books, right? There's Blueprint for Value, and then there's Bright Spots,
which
was a #1 international bestseller thanks to
Drum
Davis
roll.
Creative.
Yeah.
What? You all are amazing. I have to tell you, that experience was phenomenal.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Right. You and your team, I would say to finish the essay for Bright Spots, that confidence came from the team. I felt like you and Julie and everybody there was really the belief that we could get it done, the support, the communication was there, and the constant striving towards excellence was.
Well, and there was a great group of authors, and that everyone that was, it seemed to me, looking at it, everyone that was in that book, and we had almost 30 authors in that, almost 40 authors in that anthology, everyone was eager to meet each other and create those connections, and everyone was very active in reaching out. So thank you for bringing that up. That was awesome.
Well, I bring it up because it was a stark contrast to working on this book, the Blueprint for Value book. When I started writing this book, I was alone and I did not have that team. And so it was really difficult to sit down and to structure everything out. I would fall into analysis paralysis, and I would just micromanage it, and then it would die. And it wasn't until I came back to my compass remembering who I was, what my identity was, what my values were, what my
Mm-hmm.
purpose is, and what my worth is, that I was able to figure out, okay, well, this is the next step. And then for me, everything fundamentally shifted when I started working with Corey Edwards. Corey came on my team, and he said, yeah, I can help you out. Like he didn't do anything other than say, yes, I believe in you, I'll help you out, what do we need to do? And then after that, my book has 52 habits. I cranked out 13 habits in a day, formatted it, and then by the weekend I had the rest of them done, because I had somebody on my team that believed in me and was there to support me and encourage me. So I would say, um, for confidence, you really need those three things. And we can break it down a little more, but that identity, or the compass piece, right? Identity, values, purpose, and worth, the team. And then with that comes the mindset.
And kind of as an aside, if we don't already have someone in our bandwidth who plays that role, how do we find that person?
You contact Davis Creative.
What was that? I thought you, now see, that was a perfect opening to contact you, Jeff Koziatek. Yeah. Yeah.
Or you could contact me over at Core Authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those things are really important. And I'd really like to break that down for a second, because
Please.
I come out of an entertainment background. And so it's really easy to equate my value or who I am with what I do, right? I'm the guy on stage. I am juggling Jeff, or I am the stilt walker or the
Mm-hmm.
actor or whatever. That's me. And it's not. Like, that comes from who I am, but it is not my core identity. And it's really easy to wrap our identity up with what we do, or with what we create. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with the Delta Dental, but years
Mm-hmm.
ago, they asked me to create a character to teach kids how to take care of their teeth. So I created the Tooth Wizard. Tooth Wizard was like my baby, my precious. It was everything, right? I found a
Uh-huh.
lot of my identity in that. And so when eventually came time for me to close my entertainment business and pass that off to someone else to steward and continue to produce, it was really difficult, because that was my baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Tooth Wizard came from me. It does not define me. So understanding those things and how they're different is huge. You add to that, what values do we stand on when we do anything in life, whether it's personal or professional. And then on top of that, understanding what our core vision is. What are we here to do, and our core mission? How are we going to do that? All of that together will point where we're supposed to go
Mm-hmm.
next. And then understanding that we have worth that is intrinsic, not extrinsic, meaning no matter what we do out here, no matter what circumstances we face, no matter how the book does or does not do, does not change our intrinsic value. I always talk about a scale of 0 to 10. Is this on
Mm-hmm.
camera? 0 to
Right. We
10,
gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
10 is full, 0 is, we're
Mm-hmm.
always a 10 all the time. Whether you like my book or not. I love what Seth Godin says in the, I think it was the Icarus Deception. He talks about how your art comes from you, and remembering that you're the artist, not the art. And so not everybody's going to like your art, and that's okay. I thought that was huge as far as separating identity.
I like how you talk about purpose and vision, because so often I have that conversation with authors, whether it's for the anthology, which is easy because we're all writing on a common theme, or
Right.
on their individual books. And I'm always surprised at how many authors have not thought that through. Like, what is the point? Why are you writing this book? And
Yeah.
simple questions to ask yourself up front is, what is the point you want to get across? Whether
Right.
it's, looking for that confidence to take that next step, or filling out that outline. Yeah.
And when you have that compass, those answers are easier to find, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this is what I value, this is what I'm about, this is how I'm going to do it. This book aligns this way. So now the compass will tell you, okay, well, this is the next step. You need to contact, Cathy Davis, and her team will totally help you out
Mm-hmm.
in getting your book to publish. Or you need to contact, Jeff Koziatek over at Core Authenticity, and he will help firm up your foundation so that you are ready to go with Cathy. But then to take that step, to call you or to start work on the book, we need that motivational mindset. And that's really the difference. I mean, Carol Dweck has a great book called Mindset, all
Mm-hmm.
about mindset, right? And
Imagine
that
that. Yeah.
difference, I know, right? I thought it was really catchy. But there's this difference between having a growth mindset or a fixed mindset, an
Mm-hmm.
abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset. Whichever mindset we have is going to, it'll either give us the energy to take that step, or it'll grab us and hold us back and keep us from actually walking out our purpose. And if the compass says go here, and the mindset says, okay, here's the energy you need to do that, we need that third component, that team, to help hold us accountable, to encourage us when things
Mm-hmm.
get tough, because they will, to shine a light on a different perspective. If we get so caught up in the criticism or the feedback that we're getting that we start to take personal, our team can help us reframe that. And then not only that, but if we feel like, oh my gosh, I only had one book in me and it's out, life is over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do next. Our team can help hold our image for us while we're processing this, so that when we're ready to go, we can get back on track.
I know one of the things I hear you talk about a lot is how we each have our roles in life, and
Yeah.
roles. And quite often authors will come to us who they may be doing something during the day for financial needs or taking care of their family. We've all been put in new roles over the last 7 months. How does that affect our confidence, and how do we keep motivated and perhaps sometimes learn to be that our own cheerleader? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, it honestly, it comes back to the compass and the identity piece. A lot of times we will identify ourselves by our roles. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but let's use a baseball analogy, for example. Let's say Adam Wainwright is pitching for the Cardinals, and he identifies as a baseball player for the St. Louis Cardinals. And then he crosses the line and turns 43 and is so old. And 43. And in baseball considered a veteran. And so then he stops playing baseball. If he finds his identity in being a baseball player and now he's no longer a baseball player, what does he do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to move on unless he finds his identity in who he is as a human being and sees baseball as something that he does, from that foundation. Then when baseball comes to an end, he can then make the decision to either stay in baseball as a scout or a manager, or go into broadcasting, or he can pivot into something else and be okay and not destroyed by that. Or to bring it back home, if I find my value in being a good dad, and I could say, look, this is not a total, an exact replica of my son. But if I said, look, this is my son
Yeah.
in whom I am well pleased. I have encased him in this this suit of armor,
Yeah.
right? So that he will always be like this. But then if my son makes a mistake, oh no, right? Because if I'm finding my value in being a good dad, he makes a mistake, then it's a reflection on me. I get really frustrated and
Mm-hmm.
I take it out on him.
Yeah.
Unless I find my identity internal as a human being and see being a good dad as a outflow of
Mm-hmm.
that. So I think the same thing here. We're all having our roles thrown up in the air, and it's shifting, and everybody keeps saying, this is the time to pivot. Now's the time to pivot. But if you don't have a firm foundation of your identity, you're trying to pivot on gravel, and that doesn't really work so well.
And
So
if you're trying to write a book in the middle of all that, it's like, okay, we're going to put the book aside for now because I've got too much other gravelly stuff traveling in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, and and to process that, It's okay. It's like everybody has a button for PTSD, and 2020 just said, I'm going to push that down and I'm just going to hold it. And when you think I can't push it down any further, I'm going to push it down even more.
And you all get to
Right?
go through it together. Yeah.
Right. But you're going to do it in separate places. So you'll
Right.
feel alone
In
and
isolation.
isolated.
Yeah.
Right.
Isolation. Yeah.
And so this is where the team comes into play. I can speak personally. Up until March, a large chunk of my income came from performances. I was very diversified in my performing and my speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to kids and adults and mixed audiences and corporate. Like it was really diverse. However, it was all large groups. It was all live. And so all of a sudden that role was yanked out from me, and I have no idea when that's coming back.
Yeah. None of us. Yeah.
And
We're all,
right.
especially speakers and trainers. And you and I know both know a lot of those people that it's in the middle of reinventing what you do and how you use technology and how you use what's available, the Zoom rooms and all of that. And how do
Yeah.
you still get your message out there and make an income?
But here's the thing, Cathy. When that was ripped out from me, my mindset shifted because I was focused on what I was doing, on the
Mm-hmm.
role,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as my mindset shifted, I lost my compass and I forgot what I was about. I forgot where I was going. And at the same time, my team totally disbanded. So I was alone. It
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't until I talked with my buddy David Alexander and he challenged one of my perspectives that I got my mindset back and I relocated my compass. And I remembered, oh yeah, performing, speaking, that's just a role that I play to help carry out what my compass says. TD Jakes said recently, he goes, you marry the purpose, you date the process. The purpose is gonna stick with you long term. Like that's your driving
Mm-hmm.
vision and mission, right? Your process is gonna change. If we marry the process, then we cannot adapt to new climates, to new cultural shifts. But if we marry the purpose, then we can. And so I think that's how you handle roles when they get shaken up, whether it's personal or professional.
I'd like to stop and also explore the word mindset. Those of us who have been in the self-help industry a while have been hearing that word for quite a while, but I know I occasionally will bump into someone now who's not familiar with what does that mean. So talk a little bit about what is mindset and how can we find our own?
How can we find our own
Yeah,
mindset?
yeah. Or how can we find it, the mindset? This buzzword that's hopping around everybody lately.
Well, it's been around for a really long time. I think what we're hearing right now is just a new iteration of that, or new
Spin of it,
version of it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it's the whole attitude. Attitude is everything.
Mm-hmm.
You could use attitude, you could use mindset. It's really the lens that we're looking through when we look at our life and when we think about our future, when we think about the world around us. I know when I'm coaching people, we often talk about, do you have a mindset that is using like this power model, this power
Mm-hmm.
lens that says everything is perfect, or it's an epic failure, right? It has to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, then it's this. And perfection is, I'm going to suggest, an impossibility. And so when we have this power model or this power mindset or this power attitude, we set ourselves up for failure and for constant disappointment, right? Because this is not attainable. There's always going to be something that we can do better, something we can improve upon, or a flaw in the system, because we all make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So shifting from that to what we call the growth model, or the growth lens that says, is this working or is this not working? The growth model allows us to pursue excellence over perfection. It allows us to offer ourselves grace and compassion when we make the mistake,
Mm-hmm.
or even when we make a decision and in the middle of this pivoting, as our roles shift, we decide, oh, I'm going to go down this road. No, wait a minute. That's not in alignment with my values and my purpose and who I am. I'm going to stop and I'm going to go back over here instead. And that's okay.
Yeah, because what I see a lot of us and a lot of authors that I talk to that we're all struggling with is we find ourselves treading water or, shuffling on the gravel, whatever metaphor you want to use. And how do we get back to our center? How do we get back to regaining that confidence that we had before this landed in our lap? And how do we get back to somewhat normal? And sometimes that is through writing, whether it's a writing exercise in a journal or whether it's getting back to gaining the confidence to start or finish your book. So how do we turn that pivot in our favor?
Ooh.
I know. Just, blow the mind. Yeah.
Could you ask that one more time, please?
So we're dancing on the gravel, doing the best we can. How can we stabilize that dance a bit and get back into that to where our pendulum is swinging more back towards the confidence that we had perhaps before this event happened, before change landed in our lap?
We really need to clarify the compass. In order to,
I love that. Yeah.
In order to do that, it is difficult to do that if you're not working with somebody. If you're working by yourself, it's very easy to put up a bunch of filters of judgment, and
all those little
shame
voices in our head.
Yeah. So working with a coach, working with a counselor or somebody out here that can give you a different perspective and help walk through things that holds a safe space, right? Of no judgment, that does not give advice, but just offers a safe space for honest exploration. I think that's incredibly important, because without that identity piece, in the compass, without the identity, without the values, understanding what we value personally, professionally, relationally, without understanding our purpose, and without understanding where our worth comes from and what it is, we won't be able to pivot. I think it's very similar to an addict that might be celebrating 16 years of sobriety from alcohol, but then you look at all of the smoking going on, or you look at all the drug use, or you look at the excessive working schedule, or you look at the crazy off the chain exercise routine, right? We just bounce from thing to thing to thing. Or for me, when I was looking for my value in what I did, I said yes to everything. I couldn't say no. And so as we try to pivot, it can be very easy to say, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. Because we're just grabbing for straws. We're trying to survive. We don't really know what we need to do next, but we know we need to do something. So we say yes to everything. So I think it's incredibly important to work with somebody to help clarify what that compass is, so that we can then make a pivot that is in alignment with who we are, our values, and our purpose.
Help us figure out what that compass is. So I want to remind everybody too, that if you have questions for Jeff, please drop them in the chat box and we'll make sure that we get those answered. So Jeff, as you know, we work a lot with authors, and
Really?
some of the people that we have on our team are writing coaches. You got to experience one with the anthology, and a very similar role.
Awesome.
Thank you. Very similar role that you take in working with your authors. And one of the questions that we get quite a bit is, okay, I've gotten the confidence. I've had my coach push me through. I have finished my book. Now what do I do? How do I get out? How do I gain the confidence to get out there and really talk about it? What's next after I finish my book?
And what do you say?
That's what I'm asking you. Yes. And what do you say?
What do you do next after you've written the book?
Yeah, I have finished my book. What's next? How do I up-level my confidence, perhaps? How do I up-level my confidence to even take it to the nth degree? I may be feeling confident and go, wow, I've just finished my book, or wow, I've just gotten that new job. But then I step into that door, or I step into that new role of that job, or that just published author,
Yeah.
And I might find myself back on that, dancing on that gravel again.
I would suggest two things.
Mhm.
At that point, we need to be aware of what we call in the coaching process our insanity cycle. And we need to have a team that can help us uh, reframe what's going on and open up doors for new opportunities and create connections. So if we break that down for a second, the insanity cycle is essentially um, if a trigger is pushed or we find ourselves confronting a crisis or a new challenge or a new situation
Mhm.
that we've not faced before, oftentimes emotions will kick up like anger or stress or worry or impatience or loneliness, or we feel these things, or we look at we just got our book published. How do we get from here to number one bestseller on New York Times or number one international bestseller? Like bright
Yeah.
spots.
Yeah.
How do we get there? And then we start feeling impatient. And usually when those feelings kick up, we don't like feeling them. So we either fight, flight, or freeze. And if that doesn't work, then we drop into one of these 7 weapons to overcome. And being aware of that process is the first step. So we can get off of the insanity cycle and back into following the direction that our compass points to. Now, along with understanding our own insanity cycle, having a team around us made up of 4 key players. The 4 key players are mentors, cheerleaders, givers, and connectors. We need those 4 to help us take that next step because we don't know what we don't know, and we don't even know that we don't even know it.
So I'm going to ask you mentors, cheerleaders, connectors, and what was the other one?
Givers. I give, I need, give
Yeah.
me, right? Little,
Right.
what about Bob? Anybody?
Giving makes us all feel good. Now, you had mentioned one time something about a Brad Pitt movie. There was a story. Does that
Yeah.
relate here? Yeah.
uh, I think so. So I spent my whole life pursuing a film acting career. I thought that's what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to be. I studied acting in New York City. I moved to Los Angeles, and then when I moved back to marry the love of my life, I got a call from my agent, and she said, "Hey, Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston are making their last movie together. It's all about Jesse James. They're looking for the actor to play the title role in the film. They can't find him, but they saw your headshot, and they would love for you to come down to Nashville and audition for the role." And I was like,
Ooh.
"Okay, sure, I could do that." Right? I thought, well, maybe I can have a film acting career while I'm based in the Midwest,
Yeah.
and I don't know everybody and I don't have a whole lot of money. This could be my ticket. And so I drive down, I do the audition. The casting director says, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing. You're the only one that did exactly what I was looking for." And I'm thinking,
Got it.
great.
Yeah.
So I'm driving home from Nashville. I'm feeling really good. The next day I get a call from my agent, and I am crazy ecstatic to get a call that fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was like, hello, like play
Mm-hmm.
it really cool. And she goes, "Hey, they really liked your audition, but they noticed that there's a conflict here in August. What is that, and can you move it?" And I said, "Oh, well, that conflict, that's my wedding day." And they said, "Well," they were like, well, what?" And I had talked to my wife to be beforehand, and so we already had this agreement, right? So I could say confidently, "No, the wedding date is solid. We can't move that, but we can reschedule the honeymoon, and then we can have a much bigger honeymoon." Right? And she said, "Okay, let me get back to you." And I said that because for me, I wasn't looking for a career. I wasn't looking for a one-off film acting job. I wanted a career in film, and if I was going to sacrifice something that aligned with my values and my purpose, my marriage, if I was going to put that on the back burner, so I could do this film with with Brad Pitt,
Mm-hmm.
like it didn't align with my compass,
Right.
right? So I could make that decision. Um, and feel really good about it and not feel really really resentful
Mm-hmm.
looking back.
No, I love that. And so I guess the end of that story is that you got married and you went on your honeymoon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they made the film. It's called The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. Do you recognize that film name?
I don't think you lost out on anything there.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's been 15 years. And, without a compass, I could have made a decision to do something not in alignment, to potentially sacrifice all of this stuff to make
Mm-hmm.
a film that 15 years later, only a few people know about.
Right.
Or I've got the compass and I know what my values are. I know what my purpose is, and I can go this direction instead.
And create this lovely life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm loving this stuff. And my
Yeah.
kids, I love them too.
That's
a lot.
awesome. So I understand you have a gift for our live audience today. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I'm not sure how we'll pick one, but
You
for
could
one,
always say, get your typing fingers ready, and whoever jumps into the chat room first. We've done that before. Yes.
okay. So get your typing fingers ready.
And there goes Lisa Frumhoff. Yes. Me.
Wait. You don't even know what it is yet.
Yeah.
You get the opportunity to buy me dinner, which would include dinner for me and my wife and my two kids.
It's okay. Yeah.
That's what we're giving away. No. I really believe this. I believe that the compass is incredibly important, and without that compass, we're just spinning. And I don't believe you get a compass on your own. I do believe you need help with that, and that is why I'm here. I've spent most of my life trying to find value outside of myself and what I do and the circumstances I overcame or in hiding my mistakes. It drove me to become a workaholic and miss all of my moments. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And so I want to help people be present with that. So today we're giving away one free coaching session so that you can have a compass. At the end of that session, you will have your own compass. It'll be a clear understanding of your identity, your values, and your vision and mission.
And actually, if there's additional people that would like to put their name in the hat for that, what we can do is we'll take everybody's name. Make sure you type your name into the chat. We'll take everybody's name. Julie will be my honorary name picker. We'll put everybody's name into a hat and we'll pick a name that way.
Yeah, and then if you don't get chosen, I've got another offer.
Drum roll, please. Yes.
So I've got a 12-week. Calling it a newsletter is ridiculous, but it's a 12-week way to really work out and incorporate the compass, the mindset, and the team into your daily life. It comes to you, comes to your inbox once a week for 12 weeks. We focus on compass, we focus on mindset, we focus on team. If you like that, all you have to do is send me your email address, or I guess you could put it in the chat, or you could send it to Cathy. And next week.
One of the things we do is when we send out the follow-up email with the link to the YouTube video, we will include your contact information in that follow-up email. So everybody that was live on this call will get that information, as well as the people who weren't able to make it but want to listen to the replay.
That sounds
great.
Everyone
will get that. And Julie reminded me that if you've ever sat in on some of our anthology and some of our smaller anthologies that we've done, Jeff, we do an online kind of summit and we have all 20 anthology authors, and it's kind of like speed dating, but it's speed introductions. So I ask a question, I get quiet, they talk about their business, and we give away all kinds of stuff on those. Julie has this fun little wheel, kind of like Wheel of Fortune. And she can plug in names on this wheel, and that's what we'll do is we'll put everybody's name that was on the call in that wheel, and we can pick a name that way.
How cool is that?
So if you want to be placed in that drawing and and have your name on that wheel, make sure your name is in this chat, and we'll add you to that wheel.
The drawing for the coaching session to clarify your compass and other C words.
Yes, that's what we'll do. And Any parting wisdom for confidence in
Ooh.
keeping our stability while traveling on gravel?
I believe you got to remember where your worth comes from. It's like, hang on, here we go. Oh yeah, check it out. All right, so this is going to be a really quick explanation.
Mm-hmm.
This $10 bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
This represents you and you and you and you and you and you and also you. This represents each one of us, right? On a scale of 0 to 10, we are a 10 all the time. This is our intrinsic value. Then life happens. Maybe COVID comes along and we take a hit. Or maybe we lose our role and we take another hit. Maybe we write something and we get some really negative feedback. We take another hit. Or on another level, maybe we face some abuse or some loss, or we move and we don't know anybody there. We take another hit. And life keeps beating us up over and over and over and over again. And then one day we look in the mirror and we see this. Cathy, what is that worth? If the $10 bill was worth $10 in the beginning, what is it worth now?
It looks as if I'm all crumpled and I don't feel right and I don't feel good and I don't feel worth anything.
Yes, it looks that way, but how much is it worth? Thanks, Georgie. I appreciate that. It's still 10. It's been beat up. It's been abused. It's been mistreated, but it does not change its intrinsic value. It is now, has always been, and will always be a 10, just like you.
Love that.
It's really important that we stand on that so that we can then write the next chapter. We can take the feedback, and we can take the feedback about the art, not ourselves, the artist. And we can keep taking that next step with confidence.
Awesome. Applause, applause, applause. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
For the audience, be watching for the follow-up email. It'll have Jeff's contact information on it. Julie will do our little wheel of winner and let everybody know who that winner was in that email, as well as we'll connect the winner with Jeff to make sure you have each other's contact information. And our next Lunch and Learn for Inspiring Authors is December 10th. It's a second Thursday of the month. We're interviewing Connie Whitman. She is one of our authors. She wrote ESP, the Easy Sales Process. She's out of New Jersey, and she will we'll be talking about different ways that she promotes her book and gets her message out there from an author perspective. If anyone on the call today is interested in being in our next anthology, it's called Engaging Experts. We'd love to have you in that. And more information will also be in the email that you'll get as a follow-up. Jeff, love you to death. Thanks for being here. I'm so glad that your comments and your inspiration have motivated me as well as all of our guests today. Thank you for being
Cathy.
here.
You're amazing. Thanks for having me on here. Your generosity and your experience and expertise with book publishing and just life is awesome.
I appreciate that. We'll be in touch, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.